So tonight, if you suck, they come in. I always wanted one of them. My manager promised years ago, he said, do it right, Bill, and you can have your name in pink. Who did that? It's decidedly average to be here. It's kind of live and telly, isn't it? And I've never seen so many famous people in my whole life. It's great. It's like a party at our house. I love it. I start very slow. I start real slow. And because I think you're the same yourself, you know, when you go to your work, not you people at the front, the working classes are back. The ones they talk about in those political programmes as the ordinary people. All you ordinary people up there. Well, when you go to your work in the morning, like 8 o'clock or whenever you start, you don't sort of go 8 o'clock and into it. You sort of relax and scratch your arse and read the paper and look out the window. Well, this is me at my work. This is me, I'm doing it. I'm not on a yop scheme. This is what I do. Easy, isn't it? Well, I've thought a great deal about what I should say to you and how I should conduct myself tonight in front of you. And it's been a real problem for me. Because usually I relax into the more profane language very early in the game. So I think I could do it quick and relax. Fuck this! So, oh, that's much better. It's like a quick belt in the banjo. Oh, fuck! Right, now that we're at home, I thought it would be nice. I can hardly sort of... you know what I mean? It's because I come from a place where people... I've sworn all my life. You see, I swear like all the time, and I think it's rather good language. People say it's a limited vocabulary. It makes you swear. Well, I don't think so. See, and because my vocabulary, I know at least, oh my God, about 127 words. And I still prepare fuck. You see, I've never found the English equivalent for fuck off. And it isn't go away. Because go away kind of dissipates, doesn't it? It goes, go away! Go away, shoo! Shoo! Go away, go away! There's no conscience, like, fuck off! It always works, you know. And you never read, fuck off, he hinted. So what I thought I'd tell you, in case you want to ask me something, I bet you don't know. Now that you know the answer. And it's awful. Every time I open my eyes, I'm looking at one of my heroes. It's like a nightmare. I did this once before, you know. It was in the year that Scotland qualified to play in... You know, Scotland always qualify. You have to think of the year. I think it was 74 or something. They were playing in Germany, and the guy who was supposed to make money for them kind of ripped them off. The Scottish football team, that is. And they ended up by being given a sort of a 6-month loan of a Vauxhall. Jet set stuff, isn't it? Get a loan of Vauxhall for 6 months. So, Willie Ormond, who was the manager, asked me to go down and entertain the team, and it was hellish. It was just this room full of Dennis Laws and Billy Bremners. I did the whole thing with my eyes shut. It was, I didn't open my eyes. God, it was the best laxative I've ever known. So, yeah. So I was going to tell you a bit about myself. You probably know a lot because I've kind of become the darling of the chat shows. But I should tell you I lie a lot. So, some of it wasn't true. I've made myself very windswept and interesting as the years have rolled on. Because I was born a sort of fart. You know, I've tried everything to be exotic. You know, I've fought being plain all my life, but it keeps coming back. I always look... When I buy something expensive, I look as if I stole it, you know. That's what I look about me. You know, people give me presents, you know. Like Cartier glasses, and the police go, "Where'd you get them?" They stole them out of a car. So it's weird, you know. I've got this mark on me that says nothing. And I don't know where it is. God knows I've tried everything. But I was born in Anderson, in Glasgow. And it's sort of down at the dockside there. And I don't remember it much because we left when I was about 3 or 4. And I was brought up in Partick in Glasgow, where Partick Thistle originally came from, the football team. Partick Thistle FC. I say that because most Englishmen think they're called Partick Thistle Nil, right? And they're always good for a laugh, you know, Partick Thistle. And, yeah, what can I say? I was brought up as a Catholic in Partick, and it was okay. I got A-level guilt, you know. Yeah, every time I interfere with myself, I think I'm going to hell, you know. Yeah, it was an okay education for everybody else. I think I spent most of the times watching pigeons screwing in the reef. That was it. That was the education. But I was very lucky because there was full employment on the Clyde, you know, and that was the way of Glasgow then. The shipyards, the schools opened their doors and the shipyards opened theirs and everybody poured in. And I became a welder. I was actually becoming an engineer and joined the wrong queue. And it's the truth, because there was everybody had jobs, go like, engineers this way, Mr. Hughes, and I joined the wrong line and became a welder. And I started being an apprentice welder without even knowing what a welder was. I didn't know what you pressed to make it work, for Christ's sake. The stuff. That was it, and I joined the Territorial Army to make myself a bit more exotic. I did. It was the parachute regiment. And I got my red beret, and I looked like acne. I had my uniform, and I got my wings and everything. And we did an exercise once. It was a complete and utter waste of time, as the entire Territorial Army is. We did an exercise. It's a dreadful waste of time and money. Oh, I swear, I mean, we did an exercise in Cyprus. All us paratroopers in the Carigna Mountains with my gun. And we parachuted out of this plane. And as a matter of fact, I parachuted out of the first plane I was ever in. I jumped out of the first bloody plane I was in. Aye, it was the 9th flight, I think. Something happened to one of the engines and we had to land, and everybody was shitting themselves. I said, "Oh, great, we're going to land." That was that. I landed in Cyprus. I sat on a brick. And it hit me on that bone there, the coccyx. I just about overtook the aeroplane. Landed again with a lump on my bum, which has never really gone away. And did the rest of the exercise like a giraffe having a drink. And it was full of little moments, you know. And the parachute regiment chased the Green Howards through the mountains for 10 days, and we caught one. There was thousands of us, armed to the teeth, bayonets down the trousers, and it was great. They'll pose it. Everybody looked like Rambo climbing. At last, I'd become exotic, and we caught this poor bastard. And he worked in the same shipyard as me. He was a territorial too. It was great. I could have sneaked up behind him in the canteen and saved the country a fortune. And to give you, for those of you who don't know what I do, that must include me, really. I've never really understood what I do, but I've been intrigued for many, many years, since I was a wee boy, with the way ordinary people behave. I've never found famous people awful interesting. It's one of the great letdowns in my life. But when I found ordinary, just plain Joe Smiths, I found they do the most incredibly exotic things and make me roar and laugh. If I could give you a wee example, my brother is, when he told me, I thought I was going to hurt myself. No, really, I mean, it just took my breath away. You see, I spent many years working in the shipyards, roaring and laughing at extremely funny men, and wondering why, when I put the television on and watched a comedian, it didn't make me laugh the same way. But this is roughly an idea. My brother is a postman. This is the truth. He's a postman, right? He's, because about Glasgow doing his giving people letters and stuff, as is a postman's wont. And at the time, they were pulling down buildings in the area where he delivers his letters. You know, the way they pull down slums and all that. And they had a rather unique way of doing it in Glasgow. The first thing they did was they went into the building, the tenement, you know, and they've got maybe 8 doors, sometimes 10 or 11 doors on the various houses, depending on how many on the landing, you see. Because sometimes there'll be 2 houses on the landing with 2 rooms and a kitchen, and a wee one in the middle with just 1 room. That was called a single end. And they've tried to get rid of them. And in one way, it's a great idea. In another way, it's not such a good idea. But anyhow, they took all the doors off the buildings first, and they made a fence with them. You see, round, and then they pulled the building down with this fence of doors. And my brother, one day, he went up. He's a postman, right? And he went into the... In Partick, where I come from, he went up into the building and he went to, or Mr. McDonald, whoever, went to... And it says, Campbell on the letterbox. So he knocks to ask Mr. Campbell where Mr. McDonald has gone. And Mr. McDonald opens the door. Hi, oh, hello, son, what is it? Oh, here's your letter. It's your door. He said, oh, yeah. He said, I found this door. Oh, yeah. He says, aye, it was in a fence along the road there. I thought it was a cracker, so I've nicked it. So what he's done, this guy, he's out for a walk with a dog, right? It's just an ordinary block. I mean, you couldn't write this. Right? He's out for a walk and he goes, God, geez, that's a great door. So, right, he's away home with a door, right? So he's taking his own door, because it's night, right? He's out with a door, so he said, better. Right, so he's taken the door off his own house and lent it again, and then taken the good door and put it on. So that's a cracker, right? This is what I do with my own door, and he thinks the lavvy needs a door. He's got an outside toilet, and the door needs... Right, so he takes his own door. He takes the lavvy door off and puts his own door on the lavvy, and then takes the lavvy door and puts it back in the fence. So nobody can take offence at all. He's the fence aside. He's got a new door, and so has the lavvy. He said, and everything went great until in the morning he went down to the lavvy and he found that burglars had broken into his toilet. And I've often wondered what the burglar thought. Going, right, this house'll do. Jesus Christ! What deprivation! Can you imagine the burglar leaving them a couple of bob? And so that's roughly what I've tried to do. And I've often looked at people and thought, my God, because I've been kind of obsessed with sex as well, you see, throughout all these... It took me an extraordinary length of time to lose my virginity. Oh, God almighty, it was ages. I won't even tell you, because you'll talk about me. It was a long time. I was tattooed first. I mean, it was so long. I had to do it eventually for the sake of my sight. I had to go. Purely for reasons of, visibility. I was going mental. I was becoming a funny shape. It was just awful. Aye. Oh, the whole thing was, oh, Jesus. And I used to look at people and wondered how they did it, if they did it. Say, now, he probably does it. She probably does it. As a matter of fact, he probably does their hair. I wonder how they do it. And I wondered if everybody had been telling me the truth, you know. Did you really, were they taking the mickey? I mean, if I go like that, they go, get, piss off! To practice on things, you know. I've never had a dog or anything. So it's weird, you know. I should read things and sweat a lot. And I used to look at big fat people, huge, obese, gigantic people. See, I bet he does it. And I bet she does it. And I wonder how they do it. And I saw a man being interviewed on television, and he was in the Guinness Book of Records for being the most greedy person on earth or something. I mean, the man he was from Texas, and he was the fattest. He was actually kind of lying down to be interviewed. He was looking over his waistband, you see. And I thought, I looked at the fly on his trousers. I was like, that was vast. I thought, my God, it's like Cyril Smith's trousers. And I wonder, where do they sell big Y fronts that size? Or do they get them custom built, you know? So I was looking at this and I thought I was going to count the buttons. There was about 47 buttons. And I thought, well, his wife's a huge big woman as well. She was talking away. Oh, it's wonderful to be in the Guinness Book of Records. And I thought, well, I reckoned, you know. I reckon they kneel. Because when you're Scottish, you know how it feels to have a wee willy sometimes. No, it's not. Scottish people don't have wee willies. No, I didn't say that. I'm not guilty of such racist thoughts. But I've been on holiday in Aberdeen. You're like a sumo wrestler. You go in swimming at Aberdeen. Your willy's like a baby's one. There's a wee point on it. You feel so stupid when you look at it. And the other bit underneath, your little marble pouch. It's like a walnut shell. And so this man from Texas was a bit like that, I should imagine. I mean, his wee willy show, and his wife would be, her stuff would be under here too. So they must sit there like sea elephants up on their knees, saying, right, Nelly, okay. Right, grab an armful. This thing on here. Right, up we go. And this wee person appears. And this huge big armful of stuff wobbling. Okay, right. Okay, more. Right, now! And it all falls off the bed. Fills the whole room. Left a bit, go! So that's kind of roughly what I think about. No, really. And I seem to see things that people don't just take... I was in Los Angeles, and this is the truth. There was a sign, and it said, "To the Braille School." And I thought, who's it for? And I thought, why don't they do all road signs in Braille? People stop and go like that. Oh, yeah. And it's odd, I must say. But I've always... There's something about I don't understand very much. I'm not saying love me, I'm thick, right? But there's a lot of things that my brain won't allow me to understand. You know, because they're so incredibly boring. And God knows I've tried. Especially with politics, you get 2 pages, you go, oh, bollocks, who cares? Who cares? I mean, that's how I've become a kind of anarchist, you know. I think roughly the desire to be a politician should bar you for life from ever being one. I was watching them, don't vote, it encourages them. Do you watch them? God! I mean, isn't that awful? But anyhow, I tend to look at it slightly different. And I look at singers on the telly, and I look at Scottish singers, and I think, what are you doing? And you see, and I'm a Scottish person, right? You probably noticed. And I look at these Scots on telly, they're sort of singing shortbread tins. It's the whole nation, they're singing about this garbage. Oh, the mountains over here and the rivers over there. Sun is in the river and I'm roaming in the gloaming. Bonny purple mountains and the sun is going, ah, fuck off! I don't even begin to understand that. Because the folk music is actually wonderful, the real, but they avoid that like the plague in order to sing this stuff. And it's all written here in London. With strange wee men who have never seen Scotland. And one of them got found out about 5 years ago. He wrote a song called The Blue Misty Hills of Tyree. But if you've ever been in Tyree, it's like a bloody billiard table. Oh, the misty blue hills. Oh, and there's this never-ending line of highland weird people. I mean, I'm not saying the highland people are an amazing race of people, lyrical, nice people. But there's this section who keep turning up on television in Scotland. The Brine Island shirt and a space in the teeth. And the wee badger handbag there. Mountains and rivers and Bonnie Morag and the Roman and the Gloaming. And it's a very strange affair. And then there's the Gaelic ones. You've probably seen them. They say hello to you all the time when they're singing. This is a song they do when they're mashing up the Harris tweed to send it off, and they say, why are you wearing a Brine Island shirt? It's absolute nonsense. And we seem to produce in Scotland a kind of religion that's very strange too. It's the most patronising thing in television except for the weather. It's Winsy Willis here. You're right, Winsy Pooh. was just thinking, your television treat you like you're 4 years of age. Now, here's the weather. This is the country where you live. And this is a wee cloud. Probably not. I really feel brassed off when they do that. They stick clouds and lightning on the board. You don't need to do that. I know what a cloud looks like. Just tell me, I'll understand. I mean, what if that carried on to the news? Today there was a massacre. Goo running off the desk. You have to behave yourself. I can't get it. But anyway, I was saying, that kind of singing, you know, women sing kind of weird up there. They've spoiled a lot of great songs. You know, Robert Burns wrote some real crackers, and they spoil them with that strained way of singing. Because ordinary people sing okay. Not really. And the whole thing is organised by people who've got second names instead of first names. Crawford. Crawford, have you seen Finlay? Who are these people? They're alien. The surname clan have taken over. Campbell, have you seen Finlay? Oh, he was with Crawford and Torkel. What are you talking about? And the women dancers are great, you know, they're all giving it a bit of that. And it's fabulous. Winsome and buxom, and the men are getting a bit right in the loafers. For me, it's a bit strange. It's a bit like ballroom dancing's getting the same. Like people doing that. What are you doing? If you did that in a Glasgow dance hall, you'd last about 10 minutes. An elastic suit or that, no? What's that? And what's the paso doble? Nobody actually does the paso doble except them. And drunk people on holiday in Spain. So, and then religion, as I was telling you. The religion's a real growth industry in Scotland. The BBC religious department's got 14 offices. What do they do all day? You can't hear the typewriters for the rattling of the rosaries up there. So it's very odd. And they've got this never-ending procession of wee men who come on at night and tell you how dreadful the world is. And then in the most patronising possible way, try to introduce you to God. Now, if there's a God, and I suppose there is, really, because I've always thought, if you believe in God, if anybody believes in God, there is one, you know, and it's not up for question. But these wee men come on and try and tell you, and the ones on England and the Radio 4 in the morning aren't any better. They seem to have this never-ending line of people called Nigel. They'll tell you all about God in this strange fashion. Yes, I went to a football match the other day. And you know is the key, right? You know. I went to a football match the other day and it was terribly exciting. I watched with bated breath. It was Tottenham Hotspur, I believe. They were playing another bunch of chaps. They were very, very good anyway, but the game was rather exciting. And on the way home, I said to my son, Nigel Jr., I said, Nigel? He said, yes, Daddy. I said, did you enjoy the game, Nigel? Oh, yes, Father. It was super and terribly exciting. Is that all, Nigel? Well, yes, Daddy. But, Nigel, didn't you attempt to think of it on a more spiritual plane? Did Jesus play for Tottenham Hotspur, Dad? And, you know, in a funny way, he did. My radio's all covered in muesli. It's got this sort of pebble dash finish. I'm always eating my breakfast and swearing at the radio. It's a sort of furry-looking radio, like solid porridge. It's great. I was going to tell you something else about that. Aye. These singers, you know, in Scotland, they don't... You see, I like the way people sing when they go to sing it, you know, like at parties. Now, the worst thing about show business for me is the parties, you know, because they're kind of boring. And, I mean, I've been to some nice ones and stuff, but they're not as good as actual parties. Like I remember from Scotland, and I'm sure people down here, you know, working people all have parties, and yeah, unknown people going, yeah. And you have you get a great deal of booze, or whatever is your choice, and you go, right, 5 minutes, Mr. Connolly. Yeah. Be with you in a second. Yes! No business. So... I arrive here in a box like that. 5 minutes, Mr. Connolly. Yes! Here to entertain you. I've started touching my willy. It's one of my more sort of disconcerting traits recently. Because I've been talking about people who touch theirs, and it has led me to touch mine. And there's a strange comfort to be had. You don't wiggle it about or anything. You check it like you check your change or credit cards or... I think maybe it's going to fall off as you get older, like your hair. Perhaps when you're older you lose your willy. Panic in your soul. Usually happens to men in their 30s. Happened to me and mine. We're lying in the bath, luxuriating, and you look down, and there's your first grey pubic hair. It's your starter for 10. And I thought, God, how awful. Nobody told me about that. Because you don't get, like, Grecian 2000 adverts for a guy. You know, the guy walloping it down the front of the jeans. That's another thing I love, is adverts. I love the lie. I like lies on that scale, especially because there's nothing wrong with lies. They're fabulous things. My God, I'm a liar for a living. Take my word for it, there is no recession. I am loaded. At the Dow Jones Index, I don't even know who the man is. Right. Wouldn't speak to him if I did. So, what was I about to say? On a Saturday morning, in the papers, you get these adverts for things that they obviously can't sell. And people have gone, oh, fuck, God, leave it out. What? You know, a combined cigarette lighter and coat hanger or something. Right, so, you know those kind of things, you know, hat and shoes to match. So, yeah, you know the kind of thing, you know, open neck flannels. So, yeah, bowler hat with sleeves, you know the kind of... People have a sort of ideas and they go, that'll take on. So I And like, on a Saturday morning, they appear. Trench coats. Smart trench coats. State size. And there's always a drawing. There's never photographs of these. It's always a drawing of some other bloody coat. It's certainly not the one you're getting through the post. And they sell great things. I've always been tempted to send away, especially for the big slipper. Have you seen the big slipper? I think these adverts are for people they're aimed at a section of the community who don't go anyplace. They watch the telly all the time. You know, well, I suppose your trench coat, you can watch telly in your trench coat if you like. But it's a one big slipper. And you put your 2 feet in it. And you watch television. In your slipper. And each in a family can have a slipper each. Right. I was always going to buy 2. I was going to buy a pair and leave them in the fireplace. When I'm going out at night, in case a burglar comes in. Who lives here, for God's sake? And have it on one of those sensitive pads under the carpet near the slipper that switches on your stereo. Right, so as he goes, God, look at the size of them slippers, and the stereo goes, right, you bastard. Ho, ho, ho. So you can cheer the world up by doing things like that. A thing I haven't noticed in England, which is a very, very good thing, well, that is, it's a good thing you haven't got it. It's in Scotland, they say, well, that's all from television tonight. I bid you all a very, very good night. And especially those of you who live alone. You know, should have just reminded them. Some of them are terrifying, they say. And those of you who live alone, don't forget to lock the windows and stuff like that. And make sure the flamethrower's working. And the Doberman pincher's got the elastic band round the willy. Keep it out. Don't let it nod off. And I always wanted to be in charge of that bit of the programme. You see, especially those of you who live alone. For God's sake, don't look behind you! Don't turn round! And there's another one they do, as they say, and that's all tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the programmes as much as we did. We also enjoyed them the first time round, and yes, it's been great fun. And in the interest of safety, don't forget to switch off your TV before you go to bed. And for super safety, take the plug out of the wall altogether. Because the house could go on fire. The whole family could be barbecued. And they say, all right enough, I must do it. If I was the guy doing that, I'd sit at the desk, going, right. He'll be near the telly. He'll be stretching his hand out to put it off. Leave it alone! Do as you're told! Get back to your seat, I'm not finished! It's okay for them! Charlie's Angels, yeah, they're on every damn night. Well, it's my turn. I've got the switch. I'm in control of this station. And now the end is near. Get away from that switch, you psychopath! So, that's... But these adverts, there's the big slipper. And save pounds! They have a pound sign that goes down and down and down. Save! That's 3 S's. Cut your own hair! With this thing! And they have this lethal-looking thing with things down each side and a handle. And of course you buy it and you go, my God, the minute you 3 feet from your hair, a big chunk falls out the side. Because hair's like that. You know, you've always, the barber always feels the hair that's dead as he's cutting your hair. You don't, you just see the result. But when you're actually just chipping away, it's a huge lump. It feels like a massive big lump. Oh my God. But I'll give you a bit of advice. Where are you going? Get back on your feet! Nobody leaves! Okay, lock the door! You're stolen something! Nobody leaves this building! I'll get him! Where's my bloody gun? Right. So if you buy that thing, and you'll be in the bathroom trying it because you don't want your family to see that you've bought it, the normal thing is go, oh, bugger that, and leave it. Throw it immediately in the bin. Because the time will come when you're out with the lads or whatever, you're at a party, a bit pissed. Yay! Take him in, do you? Oh, there's that thing! Hey! That'll do me! That's brilliant! It's a doggle! Look at that! Arthur Scargill! There's another great thing. It's an energy suit. And it's like a sleeping bag that you wear when you're sitting in the house. It's your sleeves and things. And the idea is to save energy, so you put your big suit on and your slipper there. And you cut each other's hair if the telly's boring. And there's another fabulous thing. Incontinence knickers. There's always too many incontinence knickers. I think they were expecting a sort of plague of incontinence. I think maybe it was at the last budget or something. They expected to sell a lot of them. Oh no! Right. And I was looking at this incontinence stuff and I thought, I don't want to laugh at incontinent people, right? It must be terrible, right? Being incontinent. You know, you get all dressed to go out and you go, psh, oh, no. Change it. You can't buy white clothes. You can't buy grey suits. You go, Jesus. Right. Because young people are incontinent too. I mean, it strikes at all ages. Suppose he's a young, trendy guy. Hey. Hey, you guys. He's trying to sneak back to his seat. Get back! You haven't missed a thing. I was only killing time to get back. Go on. So the guy's young and trendy. Says, and then he sees the advert. Right, that'll do me. Give us a pair of them. Give us a bit of that. That's the very fellows for me. The see-through +4s. Just the job at St Andrews on a rainy day. Can't get the trendy baggy trousers on. And off to the discotheque giving it a bit of that, yeah. Hey, how you doing? What's your sign? Sagittarius? All right. Yeah, half man, half horse, yeah. License to shit in the street. That's good. Cares not a jot. Settle up and ride your pony, settle up and ride 7 gallons down each leg. I'll take you home in a minute. I'll just go and empty my underwear. Into the toilet and loosen the thing like that. The Thames level film disappears. Oh, they're fabulous. You should read these adverts. They're in the energy suit. See, so you can wear them under your energy suit. And there's a tray. There's a great tray you can get for sticking on the side of the settee. It clamps on. In case you're a bit overheated when you're watching Starsky and Hutch, you go, oh, not yellow grey all over the carpet. And it's got holes in it. So your stuff sits well in, wedged in. Your tea and the custard creams are all in wee places. You see, in your energy suit's to save energy, so you switch off all the heating and get the suit on. Knickers cutting the hair. And oh, my favourite, dog bags. Keep dog hair off the furniture. With this breakthrough dog bag. And it's a bag you put the dog in. And it ties down his neck. And you get a wee special bag for the budgie. You put the keep feathers out the carpet. So your dog's in the bag. And you're all sitting with a big slipper each. Watching the telly. Unless you're a super duper family, you get one big slipper for the whole family. Well, you've all got a big slipper each, and the mother says to father, I'm just nipping out. I'm just nipping out to the toilet. What? Why don't you put on a cup of tea? Anyhow, that's... And the other bit about my life before I got here, to this stage, you know, to this part of my life, and is I used to be a folk singer, but I was dreadful. I had a voice like a goose farting in the fog. And the whole thing limited me a bit much, you know. You can only go so far with Dead Lifeboat Man, then you get kind of stuck. And mining disasters. And it doesn't make you attractive to women at all. So a man held up a thing there in the set and spoiled my flow. And I'm supposed to... would anybody like to ask me a windswept and interesting question? Come on! You can do it! See, what I was... Funny enough, I was talking to Robbie Coltrane about this a wee while ago. We did a programme recently, me and Mr. Coltrane. And we were talking about the way real people... You know what I was talking about, all that... And the way real people... See, I used to go to parties. How do you love you very much? Hide still. I still fall in love. Go yourself, big man. Shut up. See, now I loved that. I used to go to parties and listen to these men singing for years. I didn't know it was English. I thought it was some weird Scottish language. I went round the music shops of Glasgow trying to find the words. See, well, how does it go? See, well, it's it goes head of hall. No, I don't know that one. And they weren't like London kind of showbiz parties. You get a huge carry-out first, you get a dozen beers and a half bottle of whiskey. Right, so you better get some Bacardi, there might be women there. Oh, okay. And then with this carry-out bag, you've seen those carry-out bags. I know they're sort of, well, I don't know if they've got them in England now. They certainly didn't, they used to have them. It's a carrier bag with a brewery on the side there. And off you go, looking for a party. Now I mean, you haven't been invited anywhere. You don't get invited, they sort of happen. So you get the bag and then you go along these tenement streets listening. And then from a window you hear, Harry Paul, Harry Paul. I'll do the big man. Easy, up we go. And then when you get there, if this ever happens to you, just tell them Jimmy said it was okay. There's always a Jimmy in the room. I met a guy doing the boozer there. Jimmy says just to come right up. What do you look like? Oh, he was a bit pissed, you know. That'll be him, the guy. There's somebody upside down behind the telly. That's the man, it's the very man. Sit down, son, give us a song. Harry Ho! Harry Ho! And there's another thing about Scotsmen. They always sing about being far away from Scotland when they're still there. Though I'm far across the sea. No, you're not. You shut your face. It's the only song your father knows right through. Be quiet. I'm very far away. And of course, everybody likes to sing. And sometimes they spin a bottle. And when it points at you, it's your turn, and you have to do a thing, you know. And if you only know the one song, well, somebody might sing it before you. And that's you have to leave, go home. That's it, I'm off. So, yeah, it's happened to me. I used to be the wild side of life. Oh, to be the wild side of life. And it's the way I yelled, and went back to the wild who said lie. What's the one? Do you know what a who is? A who. That's what the old rugged cross stands on. He far away on a hill. There was a guy who used to come round. Do you know the tenement buildings are in squares, and in the centre of the square, there is the back green or the back court. We called it the back court. And buskers used to come round on a Sunday. All these wounded people, you know, because I was born in 1942, so it was like the late 40s. I saw these men going, oh, they are now working in national car parks. They've all got a leg like that. Hey, you can't be put down here. They've all got this disorder. Them and barbers, what do you make of that, Thatcher? Hey! So, I'm phoning the police, that's it. Oh, God help us all. But it's strange. The people who sing at parties, these buskers come round the back like that. And it was a Sunday morning, and they had it all sussed. Because we lived on the side of the block that were Irish immigrants, you know, Connolly and Flanagan and all these people. And on the other side were Highland people, all the McDonalds and Morrisons and Campbells and whatever over there. And he would sing Protestant stuff over there. Hey, howdy, old record. And he'd come over to us and go, everybody. Oh. And we used to heat pennies. You get a penny and a pair of pliers and heat it on the gas. everybody. There you go. Oh, thanks very much. And the priest used the priest used to come round visiting the houses, you know, to see how everybody was doing. And they were always wee lonely men. They always looked cold, priests. They were never clean, you know. Cold-looking men. Come creeping about and say, here's a priest coming. Put that television off. Right, get to your rooms. Come on, hurry up, get to your damn rooms. The priest's coming up the bloody stairs. Get to your damn rooms. And then, see, priests think the world is full of broken televisions. Everywhere they go, it's not working. See, a guy once told me the Queen thinks the world smells like paint, because 10 feet in front of her, there's always a guy giving it. But these tellies, and they've got no telly in the chapel house, so he's just out wanting to see Charlie's Angels. And as I say, I lived in the tenements there, and there was a warmth about the whole thing. I've always seen tenements as kind of vertical villages. People say, oh, the deprivation! Oh, my... Nonsense. When you're a wee boy, it's not like that. You know, it felt great. You know, there's all these nice neighbours and the big wooden toilet seats then. You know, luxuries. You know, you didn't lose the power of your legs reading the Sunday paper. Yeah. You know, maybe it's my age. I can't walk halfway through the... Needles can't get out the damn thing. It's a point for you. Oh my God. The only other time I ever felt like that, I had a drink in America called a zombie. Have you ever drank zombies? It's a kind of muddy coloured. I would advise you to do it. It's an extraordinary concept. You get drunk from the bottom up. You're perfectly lucid. Talking away, oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah. Have you got the time? That was that British time. You've been very, terrific, jet setty and urbane. Until you need to go to the toilet. And your legs are pissed. Excuse me, I'll just go to the toilet. And you can't get up, you see? Come on, you must have... Chick Murray once told me he fell in the street and a woman said to him, did you fall? He said, no, I'm trying to break a bar of chocolate in my back pocket. But the priest come to the house, mother says, and see, in the tenements you'd a bit poorish. In the winter you'd throw coats on the bed for the kids. Yeah, a bit of coat there, keep you warm. Oh, God. The very thought. But it was actually brilliant, because you could wear them in the dark and go about playing things. Right, you wear the fur coat and I'll wear this big... And the priest's in having the corned beef sandwiches and the custard creams. Have another crumpet, Father. That's what they're there for. Come on, get it down. Thank you very much, Mrs. Connolly. There's bedlam in the room, but... Will you be quiet? We're trying to be quiet in there. I can hardly hear myself thinking here. I'm trying to talk to Father Flanagan here. The noise is deafening you. It's him, Mummy! It's him again! He's taken more than his fair share of the coat! What are you talking about, coat? There's no coat in there! I don't know, it's a fertile imagination, but... The coats are all in the cloakroom. It's a room and kitchen. Bloody cloakroom. She thinks it's a dance hall she's in. The coats are in the cloakroom, and well, you know it. The mezzanine floor. Near the luncheonette. Next to the breakfast bar. It's an eiderdown! You stupid girl coat! I don't know where they get it. She must have thought it was one of them doovie jackets. Eiderdown! What were you saying, Father? What were you saying about... What were you saying about God there, Father? What was that? All right enough. Here, have a custard cream, that's fine. Oh, you don't say. Bedlam, bedlam, bedlam. Will you stop that in there? I won't tell you. I won't tell you again. It's him, Mommy! It's him again! What's he doing this time? He's shoving his legs through the sleeves of the item. See, I've always had trouble with communication. And it started at home. Nobody could ever talk to me. You know, you say, Dad? I say, what? And everybody I knew was the same, all my friends. And the people couldn't communicate properly with them. They didn't talk about generation gaps because it wasn't a problem. You just battered the children into that stupid person. And on it went. It was just, but they used to say strange things to you. Say, can I go out on my bike? What? Bike? I'll give you a bike. I've got a bike. Don't talk to me like that. And don't think that about me, boy. Can I go to the pictures? What? Pictures, is it? I'll pictures you, my lad. What does that mean? There's lots of things I don't know. I'll make you smile on the other side of your face. What are you going to do, slash me? I mean, there's one they use in Scotland. I'll take my hand off your face, my boy. It's the putting on at high speed I didn't fancy. No. It was weird. They also developed this thing of telling you not to do something by telling you to do it. That's right. That's right. That's right, just leave your underwear lying on the floor. That's right, don't bother about another soul in the whole world, only your stupid self. Just leave it lying there along with your stinking socks. Just leave it lying there for me to pick up, but that's what I'm... Now get into that room and don't let me hear a sound out of you. Don't let me hear you laughing, or for God's sake, I will come marching in there and give you something to laugh at. I think he's going to tell us a joke. Wrong. Haven't you thought of a question yet? I think the troops are beginning to panic. Oh, Michael Parkinson's going to ask me something. Yes! Yes! Yes, Michael! I know him! He's my personal friend! Yes, what do I know? I thought you weren't talking to me. It's been such a long... Just a minute, I get back to my famous place. Yes, Michael.
Well... I mean, you are a considerable traveller, aren't you? I mean,
indeed.
You are a windswept and interesting traveller. Author of a well-written and best-selling book on travel called Gulliver's Travels.
Fab and Groovy Book Company, yes.
I just wonder what you made...
Published by your good self.
This is... You had years plugging yourself on my show, mate. Now, why not plug... What I was going to ask you about was travel. I mean, do you think it broadens or narrows the mind? And which of the places you've been to, I think particularly sort of Australia. I mean, Australia, is that worse than playing...
Australia is a wondrous, fab and groovy place. and travel narrows the mind. It narrows it to that size. If you wish to know anything, don't travel. And it gets worse every year. The more I travel, the more I miss my own bed. Do you ever think of your bed that way? The further away I go, the weirder people get. And the drums never stop. And Australia's okay. Yeah. Needs a population transplant, but it's okay. It's pretty strange. They call you poofter all the time, which is disconcerting. I wore an earring, and I went to this extraordinary thing. I was playing in a town called Whyalla, which is a real toilet. It's a shipyard and an iron ore terminal. And it's, oh yeah, Caesar's Palace, Whyalla. And the man said, have you ever been an iron knob? The whole thing was a bit bizarre, because the previous week's guest had been Tiny Tim, and I thought, this whole thing's a bloody nightmare. I'm not really here. And he said, I'd like to take you to Iron Knob. I said, I'm sure you would. People have tried before you. I am open to offers. He said, I'd like to take you to Iron Knob. He says, because in Iron Knob they have the cleanest hotel in Australia. Australia's one of my favourite countries on the earth. It's certainly the strangest. It's not a hysterically funny story, but it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. We drove from Whyalla to Iron Knob to this hotel that they hose down every day. It has a big mountain made of iron ore. Like somebody walked along and said, that's made of iron ore. And they're slowly exporting this mountain to Japan, who are buying it, but a handful. And these people are getting wealthy, and they all live in this hotel. And the red dust settles on it, and they hose the hotel down. And it's the cleanest hotel in Australia. So I went in, and there was a man. It was like Deliverance. There was people all hanging about the end of the bar. And they looked as if they'd been stood like that for years. Those people with the two front teeth that fall down, the skip caps. And we went in, there was myself and several other guys of my crew, and most of them had earrings on, you know, and I had one on. It was a strawberry thing I was wearing at the time. I found it made me exotic and interesting. People used to sidle up to me and say, my God, you're windswept and interesting. And I'd come into the bar, and this wee man, I can't do an Australian accent. Oh, dear God, I can't. Difficulty with Scottish accent. And this man, no, really, this man said, oh yeah, the poofters are here. We're out around a beer, and it was poofter this and poofter the other, and poofter this and poofter that. Oh, it's really boring. And there was a toilet seat behind the bar. One of those horseshoe-shaped ones with little medals on it, and it was obviously the trophy for the pool. There was a pool table in the bar. So I was looking at it, you know, and he said, yeah, poofter, Pommy poofter. And I said, excuse me. He says, yep. I said, who took your picture out the frame? and as it turned, he radically changed. He went, hey, how do you do? Drinks all round, nobody buys drinks, I'm giving it that. And it was extraordinary. His name was Smith, and he was the garbage collector in Whyalla. And he was worth a fortune. And he would say, Smith's the name, shit's the game. And Smith's the name, shit's the game, right? Right around the whole crew, and then sort of halfway along he thought, I'm being boring here, and he would say, shit's the game, the name's the same. It's a great country, Australia. I do like it. Really? Hello. Oh, God, an Australian.
Billy, when I was growing up in Whyalla,
They call me Iron Knob.
we always used to say that the Scots were very tight with their money. What about you and money? What do you do with your money?
I don't really have very much money. I spend it all in Langans. You've probably seen the picture in the paper. I've tried. I do not understand money. I've tried extremely hard to be Scottish about it and keep some. You know, but it seems to... I can't handle it. And when I get ahead of the game, I say, God, you've done well, buy something. and I have nothing again. And I've tried understanding Dow Jones Index and the Financial Times 20 share. I have no idea what it is, and I will never have money. Some people will have money, and others are going to be skint. Some are going to be famous and skint, and I am one of them. And I've heard all the stories about Scottish people who dropped 50 pence, bent down to pick it up, hit him in the back of the head. Copper wire was invented by two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. But I can't handle it. I don't know. I haven't any money. I've got no money stories either. Anybody ask me?
Billy, when I first came to London and spoke with my Scottish accent, I was so conscious of it feeling very flat-footed, and I wondered, when you came to London to begin with, did you have awful problems with the Scottish accent?
I did. You know. It was, well, I didn't really have a problem. I kind of, people treated me a bit like I was a Swahili poet. They would make me say things I just could not believe that I was speaking in English. And now when I listen to my old albums, I can understand, because I liked it that way. And when I go home, I love to play in Scotland and be a comedian, because suddenly I get the luxury of speaking at the right speed. You know, I go like a train, and nobody, like in England, you wouldn't understand it. And it was sort of, how can I put it? You speak a bit like a pillar box. You don't move your mouth at all, and you point with your feet. You know, people say, excuse me, could you direct me to Sucky Hall Street? You go, aye, sorry. You don't move much. I think it's something to do with the climate. And we're a bit strange, because most of us are conceived while our parents are fully clothed. It's the climate, you know, 2 seasons, June and winter. There's a lovely old variety theatre joke. See, most of the policemen in Glasgow, he came from the Highlands, those big, beefy Highland, red-faced guys. And they told jokes about them like the way people tell Irish jokes about silly Highlanders. And the great end of the pier Scottish one is the policeman who found a drunk man lying in Sucky Hall Street and dragged him into Hope Street because he couldn't spell Sucky Hall Street. There was the line they say about them when he's questioning a wee boy. He says, "Did the window break on both sides when you threw the stone?" Were you on the bicycle when you fell off? Just kind of, yeah. Would you like to ask me anything? God, I'm embarrassed.
Yes, I'd love to ask you
Oh, look!
something.
I've seen you in the pictures.
I'd love to know. You bring out the mother in me. What does your mother think of you?
She doesn't like me very much.
Why?
She does. She actually likes me. She's, I had the most extraordinary experience of probably that any adult could have. And I met my mother when I was an adult. Really, my mother and father parted when I was a small child, and it was a deeply embarrassing thing for me, because I really blew it. My mother, who was obviously very nervous, came up to me at a gig, and she said, "You're Billy Connolly?" And I said, "Yeah," reaching for the pen. And I felt really stupid. It was extraordinary. I'm glad you asked me that. It was an extraordinary moment in my life to be confronted by my mother. I was looking for bits that looked like me, you know. And she looks a wee bit like me, you know, around the eyes and the nose there. But I think she's kind of, we don't keep much in touch. I don't really keep all that much in touch with any of my relatives. But I think she's like my father, who we keep more in touch, my father and I. He tried to like what I do. But he's a practicing Catholic. He's a devout Catholic. And I did all that stuff about the Last Supper and making fun of all that thing. And he was deeply wounded by the whole affair. And then slowly, when I stopped doing it, he got kind of better about it and more open-minded. And then he came to a phase where he tried to look interested in my show business, about which he knows nothing at all. I'm the only one in the history of the entire family ever to go to the theatre, far less perform in it. And he would say things like, he would look interested. Oh, yeah, hello, Bill. Is this you back in town again? I say, yeah. And I was all hairy and beads and flared bottoms and peace and love. Yeah, hey, ding-a-ling-a-ling, bell. Ding, 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 it's me, yippee, yeah, we're home again. I say, yeah, is that you back? Yeah. Yeah, and he would say, busy? I say, yeah, I'm okay. He say, have you any jigs this week? And jigs they have remained. You know when somebody makes a mistake like that and it's too late to tell them? Oh, actually, it's gig, Father. So jigs, I say, I've got a few jigs now. I got a new guitar once, and I'd spent a lot of money on this Gibson guitar. And I said, hey, I got a new guitar. He said, oh, really? Saying that to my father, you know, was like saying, doormat, Father. I opened the case, I said, look. And you could see his wee face there. I said, what can I say about this bloody thing? And he looks at the neck of the guitar and he says, it's got a lovely handle. And so handle it has remained. So I take my guitar handle to my jigs and I think they're quite reasonably proud of what I do. You know, I think success brings its own sort of pride and jollity, no matter what you do. I don't know what Hitler's mother thought, but... That's my boy. That's my boy over there, the one with a fancy walk. Yeah. He never hits his mother, that boy. Vegetarian too. Oh, I bought a book. Do you remember? I bought a book in Edinburgh. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was vegetarianism, Buddhism and vegetarianism. And I bought it because there was people looking at me in the bookshop. I said, I better buy something interesting. No, I was actually interested because I stopped eating meat and I was feeling a bit weird about it. I've questioned it all the time. I say, why don't we get tablecloths, you know? What is it about vegetarians? They won't give us tablecloths. Right, so, it's do you ever notice that vegetarian restaurants? They're all at bloody youth hostels. People in tartan shirts, hello, can I help you? And they'll never tell you what anything is. Do you go to these health food shops? Everything looks the same, everything looks like porridge. What's that? Oh, he doesn't know a muesli, what a muesli nut burger looks like. But there's never any varnish on the table. It's why I brush them all down. All I want's a tablecloth and a waiter. See what I was telling you about touching your willy? Have you noticed how many waiters touch... They go like that, yeah, can I help you? Wait, what would you like as a main course? She never should do so quick to go like that. She's never sure if they actually did it. Are you the same, sir? Touch the willy for some reason when they look out the window. They say, what's the weather like there? Gonna check if my bike's still outside, oh yeah. It's really, I don't even begin to understand that kind of behaviour. But of course, you see, vegetarianism, it sounds like Presbyterianism to me, and I've always felt uncomfortable, as if I've joined some sect, you know. Can I do... Barbara Dixon, you're going to ask me something? Yes, please. I knew her, you know.
I was just
ages ago, folk singer, same as me.
I was just going to say that we cut our eye teeth, as it were, in folk clubs in the 60s. Do you remember those days fondly, Billy, or do you think it's all a bit sort of funny nowadays?
I think it was great. I loved the folk. See, and you'll remember, when I came into the folk scene, it was full of... See, I was a welder, right? And I had been in the Territorial Army. And so I was a really boring kind of guy. Right? Yes! Yes, I support this country! I will die! I'm a real arsehole. So... And I thought, I'd love to... I saw this guy one day. I went to a folk club. I called it campfire music, you see. I'd seen it in television. I thought, I love that campfire stuff. It was Pete Seeger on a programme called Alex a While. And I went to the George Square information office in Glasgow where you're supposed to ask how to get to Loch Lomond. And I said, how can I hear some of this campfire stuff? And they said, sorry. I said, you know, a bit of the old guitar and cowboy songs and all that stuff. And I went along, and there was a man there, Ronnie Gilchrist, still a friend of mine, with an earring and long hair. I'd never seen a man like that before. I thought, oh, my God, look at these people. And I instantly became one, high heels and hair. I can grow hair at will. I go, and I bought a banjo, and I met a man in Edinburgh. I never met people like it. And there was a man, I can't remember his name, he had a dachshund. He just had a long dog. And he was strange, he walked in slow motion. His dog walked fast and he walked slow. I can't remember his name, but he played the banjo. And so few people did. And he said, I could show you some banjo. And I said, oh, great, come on up to my place. And away he went like that, and the dog. And we went up, and this man lived in a tent inside a house. And we sat in his tent because he couldn't afford to heat the room. So we sat in the tent and he showed me, what was that? Skip to Maloo. Ding, dang, ding, diddle, ding, ding, ding. And it was brilliant. And I loved it. And it got nice and nice. And I loved it until about the same time as yourself, Barbara, but maybe 8 years ago, 10-ish. It got awful. The whole folk thing, social workers liked it, and student teachers and Christian groups went, hi, I'm the Lord of the Dance Set here. I wish you fuck off. There's people who play with a thumb like that. Hi, I'm the Lord of the Dance Set here. I'll do all, whatever you hear. As soon as I see a duffel coat, I lose interest. Duffel coat and kickers. It's a cry for help. Hi, I'm the Lord of the... So I got out, you know, and I hated bands with... what I hated was I would go to gigs and I'd drive past wee men and women, you know, going along the street, and we'd get to the gig and it would be all full of duffel coats. And we'd play the thing and leave, and there'd be all these wee ordinary people, and I thought, I want them. The ones who were walking past the concert, I wanted the public. And so I went to working men's clubs, and Jesus, I got them. Oh, it was awful. And then, thankfully, I got telly, like Bill Tennant in Scotland, and then Mike Parkinson, and then, whoosh, fame. Hi, fiddly-dee, an actor's life for me. Talking about which, I got a part in a play in Glasgow, called Clydeside, and the director was Keith Darvill, a really nice bloke. And he came to the pub where all the hairy people were, all the folk singers and poets and stuff. It's called the Scotia Bar. And he said, you a musician? I said, oh, yes. I mean, musicians sat so well on my shoulders. Oh, musician, but yes. Mais oui, I said. He says, you're the very man I'm looking for. I said, just show me the way. And we went to the Citizens Theatre in Glasgow. And he said, let's see you playing. And I went, rinky tinky poo. He went, that's very good. I said, I also play the banjo. What? I said, and I play the auto harp. Brilliant, you're the man. He said, I'm doing a play called Clydeside with Matt McGinn and various Scottish actors. It's going to be good. I'd like you to do the entire music. And I said, yeah. Something inside me fell on its side, you know. Owning up time. I said, well, actually, I'm a bit flash, but I'm not really very good. I don't know, I couldn't establish keys and all that, but I know a guy who can. So I went down and I got a guy called Tam Harvey, and we went up together, and I said, this is him, and we played together, and he said, I'll have both of you. But it was extraordinary. This was in my break to get out of the folk scene. I didn't know, I was in this, I had never seen a play before, you see. So I was in the first play I ever saw. I'm sitting on the stage, and I found it incredibly interesting. So I didn't know what a cue was. I'd never had one before. It was always right, 2 20-minute spots, on you go, cash in the hand, thank you very much. Then a cue rubbish, so we go, hey, I'll do you, off. Oh, thanks very much. And that was my showbiz. People used to talk about tabs, sorry. You know, no idea. But so I was sitting watching the play, and of course I'm supposed to be in it and reading through the script. And the play was going along, and people are saying things to each other. And the guy was saying, yes! Oh, how tough it is down the mines! My God. And it breeds a certain type of man, you know, Maggie. Do you remember young Jamie Foyers? And they all turned around. And I'm sitting with a guitar going. And I said, yeah. And the director says, well, I said, that's fine. He's asking me, I didn't know. I said, oh yeah, I play when he says that. He says, yes. Oh, brilliant, right, Tom, right, 1, 2, young Jamie Foy. But I come in, I've often lay awake screaming, thinking about this. I come in the next day, and I got the Keith Darville. If you ever meet him, he'll tell you. And I had the script, and I had the cues underlined with a black felt tip. I said, look, I've got this idea. See, every time I have to play, I've underlined it here in the script. I said, Jesus, what a breakthrough, eh? Don't tell any of them. Isn't that odd? But look, it's just about time to wrap up this thing. Oh, you're going to add something? Oh, God. It's Michael Aspel, personal friend of mine. He probably knows Mike Parkinson very well. He should, he's nicked his place in the telly. So, he was keeping his seat warm.
It was the first one. No, listen. If you had not been born in 1942...
Yes.
When would you have liked to have been born?
When would I have liked it? I think I'd have the same again. No, I've thought recently about how this age was made for people like me. Adventurous, handsome heroes. I could save the world given half a chance. And I think this is the best ever era in the history of the entire earth. And I love every second. I swear I do feel it. I often felt I'd like to be... Do you notice how I went, wait a minute. There's Doris Stokes, right? Now, Doris, you must have met in your life, since you announced this talent that you have, you must have met so many people who say, I think I've lived before, you know, right? I have met a million, but have you noticed they've all been the Queen of Egypt?
Yes.
And nobody ever swept the floor at Singer Sewing Machine Factory. Have you noticed that?
I met them all, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think this time around, if all those spiritual people are right and that you do come back and you do get another crack at it until you get it right, I think this is my first time in. Because it's a gas. I mean, I must say, I do like it. I wouldn't mind being a beetle or a cockroach, but I wouldn't like to make love to another one. Did you want to ask me something, love?
What do you do, groupies? Rephrase that.
Well, on a Thursday. I'll tell you, I'll whip out my willy. That gives them a laugh. I'll whip it out. I say, there you go. I say, how'd you like them apples? And he did it by saying, no thanks, I'll smoke my own. No lie. Do you know the most awful thing about it? Comedians don't get groupies. Oh, don't feel sorry for me. Well, I've done quite well. You've probably read about it in the papers. Comedians get guys telling them jokes. Hey, Bill. Hey, come here, man. Hey, come here. Hold me a minute, darling. You stay there. Come here, Bill. Did you hear the one about the nun and the 4 Alsatians? Clean it up and use it in your act. Oh, right. Now, tell me, A never-ending line of blokes. It's appalling. And yet I've met some pimple-ridden Herberts who were in the charts, big queues of gorgeous women at their door. I've never understood it. I never will. I'm erudite, I'm urbane, I know a word or six. I'm not scared, I'm a brave person. Look, fuck, I'm on the telly. See? I'm a brave person. I'm strong. I tried my very best. But look, I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to leave you with a complaint. This country is in a terrible state, according to some people, and I know why. Now, you blamed it on lots of things, and all unemployment, and the value of the pound, and all sorts of other magic things. It's because the national anthem is boring. No! Don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing with the lyrics. Well, I am. But not them all. I mean, I think the Queen should be saved. I think it's a great idea. And if anybody's going to save her, God's the very chap. Who am I to rock the boat? Not I. Nice person. Show business personality. Right? It's an appalling song. And it's racist. And it's anti-Scottish. And the fourth verse is all about Marshall Wade coming up to give us a belt in the mouth. And I don't like it. And with a mighty rush, rebellious Scotch to crush. Oh, do you bloody think so? I don't see any rush to Hampden to crush anybody. I rest my case. Now, you see, when you look at the Olympic Games, we go down with a flag. Da, 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 da. We've been lapped. The games haven't started yet. These emergent nations are coming out. We come from Gibraltar and we don't give a shit. We've got a national debt of £50 squillion. We will get the monkeys. God save. All the other nations don't want us to win. Because when we win, it takes half an hour and the flag out of the bloody pole. No wonder Daley Thompson's scratching him. Season up. So I think it's time for a change. And I think a refreshing change would be to use a theme from The Archers. Can you imagine it? Trooping of the colour. The Queen sitting on a horse like that. La 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 la. And then the public in the seats going rum-de-diddle-dee. So let's give it a bash here. 1, 2, 3. I'll get one of them in the bedroom. Thank you! Do you want some more of the same? So. 1, 2, 3. Now, just think. Now, that's going to be the lyrics. We're not going to change a thing. It's going to be rum-ti-dum-ti-dum-ti-dum, la-la-la-la-la-la, rum-ti-dum-pa-pum-pa-pum, dum-ti-diddly-dum. Just think the new immigrants can learn it on the bus on the way in from Heathrow. How do you feel that you get off the bus, you know the bloody national anthem? La 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 la. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to my inane drivel. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You've made a happy man very old. The show is now over. You have wasted your breath, shouting more, more, more. More, more, Bill, for 'twas wonderful. Lay another wee funny one-liner upon us. It is not to be. Waste not your energy. You'll only be fed up when you get to the chip shop and find that I'm first in the queue. La 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 la.